Hey, what's up, guys? Tim here with the Juice, and we're going over our testing week. Uh, get everyone up and going. Hope you're ready to rock. I'm going to go over everything we kind of need to know for a week overview, and following videos will have the daily sequence of instruction stuff for coaches. Sorry for the ambiance here. We are in downtown Reykjavik here. There's the water. CrossFit Reykjavik is like over there. So it's like 3 degrees Celsius or whatever they call it. So it's like 35. So if I shiver a little, you'll understand. But here's the week overview. Real excited to do this. Couple things to note. This is a 12-week training block with 4 3-week mini cycles. Some of these tests will be retested again at week 12. Some are retested at week 3 or at week 6 or at week 9 because some new tests are going to start in week 12 for the upcoming new cycle. So they'll always kind of blend depending on how much of a priority that test is for the cycle we're on. And then there'll be little tests building up to it, different benchmarks. So we'll have the chances for clients to PR, show improvement throughout the cycle here. Starting up, here we go. I'll go into the first session for Monday. It's labeled, we always label what our kind of focus here is for the day. So this is going to be close grip bench press, building up to a 5-rep max. The reason we're doing a 5-rep max to start off for this one is the big test, obviously, end of May is Murph. So we want to make sure people have a good base of support for strength endurance for this one. Is the idea. So we're looking for them to build up to a heavy set of 5 at tempo on that. Part B, we're building up to a 1-rep strict weighted pull-up. Now, obviously, for fitness, we say here 3 sets of max ring row at 1:0 tempo. So as soon as that tempo breaks, their set's terminated, they'll rest again, and they'll do that again. For performance, hopefully build up to a weighted 1-rep max. If they can't do weighted, I want 3 sets of strict dead hang pull-ups. If they can't do that, again, then that's a good sign. They actually need more of a base of support for fitness function training to do dynamic contractions like Murph. We'd always support that from strong concentric, strong eccentric and isometric holds and contractions. Sport, building up to 3 sets of rather a 1-rep weighted pull-up in that time. Part C is where we have a little variance today based on what you feel like you want. 500-meter row for time, good chance to PR, something we haven't done in a little bit, so a good chance to PR for everyone. But also, we know a lot of new members coming in the box and things are growing, so chances are we also may want to do the CrossFit baseline or the baseline assessment test of what they've done on their first day. It's a great chance for everyone to do that. 500-meter row, 40 squats, 30 sit-ups, 20 push-ups, 10 pull-ups, and we have adjustments in there is a great one. So lower skill day, but really important test that we want to do, and that's the idea as we're building up towards that, towards Murph. Up on day 2, I'm going to pull my screen over here so we can see it. It's going to be squat-based and aerobic, long aerobic session. The workout is part A is going to be overhead squat, building up to a 1-rep max for performance and sport. We will be retesting this one later on in the cycle there, as we start to build more into Ollie lifting. This cycle will have a lot of technical Ollie lifting, but not for max load. So overhead squat, along with working on their pull and then technique, is going to add up to a bigger snatch, a bigger overall Ollie total in that as we work on the pieces. So we're going to be working on absolute strength, positional work, technique work you'll see throughout the week, and then again, overhead squat. If we don't have a good overhead squat that's heavier than our snatch, we're going to be sitting there and watching people just fail reps. So that's going to be from a rack. For fitness, a 5-rep max from a front squat at tempo, and then performance sport build to a 1-rep OHS. And then for conditioning, the test is Nancy. Running test with squatting. So again, building up to Murph, kind of looking at these 2 pieces that will blend from yesterday and today as we build the progressions out. We don't need to do Murph this fast, this early. We don't need 3 months of Murph prep, but we do need prep for that. And it fits, again, good with base of support stuff post-open. And we have the adjustments in there. And then for sport, there's a fairly challenging overhead squat there. This is a workout that should be done in under 20 minutes, in my opinion, for most people. If not, we want to either help them get down or know that that's a choice we're making as a coach to help get them there. All right, Wednesday, we are building up to 1 rep power clean. We're retesting that. We did it at the end of last cycle. We did some obviously heavy lifting on 18.2. So it's a good chance after squat, base, and upper body pushing day for a hinge and a dynamic power type output for the power clean there. And then we're building that into the lactic endurance repeatability test, which is one of my very favorites. Finally, something similar to this came up in the open with 18.2. So that's a good combo already. We've been doing that one for a while, so I really like it. And it just goes 15, 12, 9, hard as you can. The weight should be light because we want it to have turnover. For lactic work, if it's so heavy, it goes rep, break, rep, break. That's now CP battery and not lactic anymore. So we do want it for these lighter loads, as you'll see. They're going to rest exactly 8 minutes, and they'll go again. And it's hard. Okay, we want it to be hard. This should feel like they get kicked in the gut. And we have the adjustments in here. Performance is lighter. That's for a reason. We want them to go hard on this. It's really hard to do 115 unbroken for these reps twice in a row. So just know that if someone's like, oh, I can do 115, and they already are dropping after like 5, that's not lactic, that's CP battery, and that's not the biggest part we're going to be focusing on in this cycle. CP battery would be stuff that we work on a little later on in the year specifically, even though we do have base support stuff for that. Up on Thursday is one of my favorite workouts, and this workout actually is one of the biggest predictors of success in the sport of fitness because it has a lot of different movements in it, a lot of contractions that we have to be able to do over and over. And the goal, as you see in a lot of the open workouts, these workouts were hard and people hit up to limiters where they couldn't move through them, right? And you can't move through them fast. That means it's aerobic. If you move through it with like almost grindy, that's lactic. And if you're stunted, like we said, that's kind of CP battery system. So for this one, what we're looking for part B is the constant variance tester for this. So it's different movements that some people may not be able to do unbroken. And that's kind of the goal, is to get through this where you can do them like, yeah, that's easy. That's a good sign. Some people will have to break these up across the way, but that's what we're actually looking for on these alphabet soup type rotate through workouts. And you'll look through any of the open score workouts of ones that weren't just like a 1 rep power clean, weren't just a little more on the simple side, the ones that got a little harder. And you'll see people, they did good, and now muscle ups were 1, 1, 1. And why did some get 5 or all 8 or 10 or 12 in a row? They made that movement aerobic. That's what we want to do. So we start with simple movements, make them aerobic. Eventually we do that with complex movements, right? Matt Frazier, muscle ups, 30 for time is like, yeah, cool. Like maybe that's a little, probably unbroken. Maybe, a little bit of muscle endurance there. He's like, good pump, where everyone else is CP battery. Does 5, you rest, you do 3, rest. Now it's singles for the rest of the time. The first part is some core work and stability work. So handstand walking, handstand holds, L-sit stuff. So that should be kind of like a warm-up pace. There shouldn't take a ton of time for you. So most of the focus of the day is on the constant variance. And that, like I said, some people don't get this type of workout. There is so much value in this. It's crazy. And this, for my individual clients, is stuff that we do in different variations of this all the time, because we can always take movements they can do, add one kind of complex movement at a lower rep range, so they can kind of start to move through that and start to make complex movements aerobic. That's the goal, right? You can do 50 handstand push-ups in a workout and you're on to the next thing, versus, I have to chop this up. As soon as we start doing that, that's not really aerobic anymore, and it's an aerobic sport. Okay, next up, back squat. 1 rep max. A lot of squatting, a lot of back squatting this cycle. 1 rep, sets of 10, sets of 5. Lots of stuff here. We're going up to a 1 rep max. And then our mixed modal aerobic muscle endurance test is Cindy and Mary. Why? Because Murph is coming up and it's post-open. It's a great time to do both of those. So we have the adjustments here for everyone on this. I also wrote optional on a few of these. The NME test is neuromuscular endurance. And what that is we're trying to see how many reps relative to your 1 rep max can a person do. And there's no good or bad. What we expect for a CrossFitter is somewhere about 4 to 6. If someone, let's say someone gets a 200-pound back squat, but could do 9 or 10 reps at their 1 rep. Some people say, oh, that means you have more in the tank. It may mean also that they're more enduring and they can operate at a higher percentage relative to their 1 rep. And for fitness, that's really good. People on the sprinter side may have a 350, or a weightlifter may have a really high back squat, but 85%, and I've seen it, with 1 or 2 reps, right? So that means that's kind of CP battery. That means if they go out hot in a workout, they burn out really fast. Okay, so it really just tells us how to adjust their sessions, their conditioning. So if I had someone with a really high 400-pound back squat, but only a 3 neuromuscular endurance test, for things like the constant variance, I would expect their loads need to be lower and the reps need to be lower, because they can charge so hard. They can send so much electricity from their brain to their body to activate, which is good from a pure athletic standpoint, but difficult in the sport of fitness for balance. So that's what that tells us. The final day for Saturday here, we have a few different tests. We have a push press. Like I said, we're building base of support for Oli. So a 3-rep and a 1-rep push press from a rack or with dumbbells, which I love for beginners or functional trainers. People wanting functional bodybuilding, dumbbells are killer. 2-rep max rep double under, something that's a skill-based test, not going to kill anyone. And then we're going to rest some, and then 2K row for time. There, or a 10-minute air bike test, depending on your equipment and your need, and then an optional plank or a front-leaning rest. So that's kind of another lactic endurance, but cyclical. Wednesday was lactic endurance repeatability, mixed modal, meaning mixed movements, and we have one here that's just grind it, get into your soul, and get it done. So that is the overview of the testing week. That will then build, and you'll start to see, oh, here's how they're building into that in our cycle coming up. And now the goal is to let the clients know this. Here's why we have an aerobic shorter test, an aerobic long, a muscle endurance, a skill, neuromuscular, a lactic repeatability, a lactic cycling piece, and then we're ready to rock. And hopefully they have big buy-in, and we're ready to crush it with an awesome cycle. All right, guys, thanks so much. We'll talk soon.